What's going on, guys? It's your boy YNDXTJ here, and this is the first time you see my channel or any of my videos. I make gaming content where the goal is to bring you positivity, whether that's through keeping you updated on the games you like to play, making you laugh, making you smile, making you happy. Even if it's just a tiny little bit, the goal is to bring some positivity to your life and through the games we both love to play. And in today's video, I'm doing something a little different. This is more of a tips and tricks helpful guide video from your boy. This video is going to be focused around Apex Legends. As you all know, Apex Legends Season 8 dropped just about a week ago. And with that, we get Kings Canyon back and some new aspects and new areas of Kings Canyon. So if you guys enjoyed this landing guide video that I'm going to give you guys today, then be sure to drop the video a like to let me know to do more of these, or comment down below what area or what you want to see next for these Apex Legends type videos. But without further ado, we're going to get into the top 5 landing locations that I think you should drop for crash sites specifically. And again, guys, if you do like these videos, then please be sure to leave the video a like, as it will help me out a lot. Now, before I get into where I think you should land, I just want to give you guys some forewarning that if you played battle royales before, you know every game is going to be different, and every game is going to be different because of these factors right here. Competition and RNG is going to be two ever-changing variables when it comes to these landing locations. But furthermore, within these variables, there is some constants and some continuity. So these are why I'm going to give you these 5 tips. Also, to give you guys some clarity and to help you follow along, I'm going to order the landing locations from 5 to 1, 5 being least competitive landing spot, 1 being one of the most competitive landing spots in this area. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. So on your screen now, guys, you should see a map of the crash site area, and I'm gonna mark some locations on where these drop locations should be. Starting off with number 5, and these areas don't really have any specific names, so I'm just gonna name them to the best of my ability. So sorry for any confusion there. Number 5, we're gonna have Artillery Tunnel. Now this one is gonna be your least competitive spot, and I say this because your goal isn't really to go to artillery, though you have the choice because you're right there. And if you're not familiar with what I'm saying, with the addition of Season 8, when you would go to that back middle building in artillery, that is now completely wide open and leads to the crash site area. And in that area, you'll see a small hut or a small building on the outskirts of crash site, and right before you get into the actual building for artillery. Now, I say this is number 5 because a lot of people usually don't land here specifically. It's either going to be between the main facility for crash site, or originally it's going to be those 2 big outer factory buildings for artillery. And most likely when I pick this spot, it's going to be that first hut on the outskirts of crash site. And in this building, you're not going to find too good of loot. Most of the times when I play it, it's barely any weapons, maybe a grenade, some level 1 armor. But this one isn't really for getting all the good loot and going. It's more for the passive type players who want to land crash site but might not have the skills or the confidence to fight over the loot just yet. So what I like to do here is I'll land in these buildings, grab a little bit of scraps that I can, and then slowly start to make my way to crash site. And when you slowly start to make your way there, you can rotate over to the small bridge area, which will have some supply bins there, which usually have some better armor, some better guns. So even if you don't land right and get some good stuff yet, you'll usually get something to help you at least defend yourself with any foes that you might encounter there. This then leads to our number 4 spot, which I'm just going to call east of crash site. This spot will have a larger cluster of the first buildings that you see if you land on the outskirts of the crash site facility. This one's going to be a little heavier because, again, it's a little closer to the main actual crash site, so you might get a few people there. In my time playing, I usually would encounter like 1 or 2 squads, usually off rip, and then sometimes I'd encounter literally no one. With this one, it's a little better than the artillery tunnel one because you'll find a plethora of more loot in a closer vicinity than each other versus having to sort of run and scamper around in the artillery tunnel one. It's also a little more dangerous because, again, you are landing closer to the actual crash site facility, and you might find yourself more up in the mix than you would for number 5. But more or less, this one's a little bit better because the loot is a little bit better. It's usually a little bit better than the one on number 5, and you might not encounter so much resistance on the right hand. Moving over to number 3, we're gonna have West of Crash Site. This one is number 3 because it may be a little farther away from where number 4's location is, but a lot of people tend to land there because of new vault or explosive hold that's there. It also has a lot of loot leading to that actual crash site location, and it's also a great in-betweener spot because if you need to, you can fall right back down to Spotted Lakes through the zip line or balloon, or you can be Braveheart and run right into the crash site location itself. Then moving into our number 2 spot, we're gonna have dead center under the crash site location, at least on the map. It's not really like that when you play, but with that, I say this one's in the number 2 spot because it's usually right in the mix, not as much as the crash site spot itself, but you're pretty much right in the middle of everything, so you're going to get caught out by pretty much a lot of people. If a lot of people do tend to land there, you'll find yourself some pretty good loot, and if you don't have the RNG gods on your side, then you can have easy access to east or west of crash site if you want to, or you can go right up the middle to the crash site location itself. And then finally, we got number 1, the big boy, the main guy, the crash site location itself, the actual ship. Now this one is number 1 because if you've gone there already, you know everybody and they fucking mother go here. It's the epicenter of all the loot inside the crash ship location itself. I don't know if this has been the same for you guys, but every time I've dropped there, there's been at least one purple vest that spawns in there every time. You have access to a whole bunch of weapons, a whole bunch of armor, a whole bunch of utilities at your disposal. So this is pretty much where everyone is probably going to make their stand, make their land at, or if not, everyone's going to converge on it as soon as possible, especially if shooting starts. You know how Apex Legends players are. They're hungry, they're thirsty hyenas, they're going to pounce on whatever, especially if they know it's a third party, they're going to come and jump on you. So with this one, this is going to be for my most aggressive players, those who's ready to fight, those who feel like they got the luck on their side. Not really for me personally, because I don't really get that lucky, especially when somebody is running for the same gun as I am and they always get the gun and the ammo before me. I don't know how, don't ask me. But the actual crash site location with the ship itself is going to be a number 1 spot, number 1 in RNG loot, and number 1 in competition. Everyone's going to be there, all the loot's going to be there. So if you want to go there, you better be ready to fight. Put your dukes up and get the scrapping. So just to go over and reiterate our 5 spot locations. Number 5, we got Artillery Tunnel. More for our passive players or people who just don't want to really get into the scrap just now and kind of want to come up behind everybody and see what's going on. Number 4, we got east of crash site. Those first couple buildings in there itself, a little closer to the action, but not so much, not really into it. Can most likely gonna be able to find yourself a little bit of loot before you actually start fighting, but a little closer in than Artillery Tunnel. Number 3, we got west of crash site. Now this one again, good strategic location, not too much competition, but it's gonna be some people there. I can guarantee you pretty much you'll pretty much run into somebody almost every time. You also have a explosive hold location there, so the loot RNG is going to be pretty much great every time because there's just so much there. Spot number 2, we've got underneath crash site right in the middle. This one again, pretty much going to be put you right into action. If not, it's going to put you in the middle of everything. Not as much as the actual crash site itself, but you're going to have options in terms of who you want to fight and where you want to loot at, especially if the loot option on your initial drop isn't that great. You can pretty much expand out to any portion of the crash site you want, or you can fall back into the artillery containment tunnel area, which is also a nice strategic location. And then finally, guys, we have the crash site itself. It's going to be our big boy, our bad boy. It's going to have all the loot there that you could possibly need to kill anybody. It's also going to have all the people there that you could possibly want to kill anybody. So if you really feel like you got it on you today, if you really ate your Wheaties, if you think you got it, this is going to be our number 1 site for our aggressive Apex Bloodhound Predators. I want to keep this video short, not too long. If you guys did enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like. If you want to see more videos like this, be sure to comment down below what area you want me to do next or what type of clips you want to see next. And also, if you want more Apex content or gaming content related to this, then be sure to hit that big red subscribe button down below. It's been your boy YNDXCJ. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.